Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Hey, welcome to another episode, guys. I'm really excited about this episode because the guest, I should say, that I've got on today is someone who I've been connected with on LinkedIn for a really long time, who I've followed, who I love her content. I was really happy when she reached out to me, especially because of what we're going to be talking about today. She doesn't know this, but the introvert in me hates reaching out to anyone. I always feel like I'm bothering people. So I never really reach out to people to come on my podcast. Nearly all my guests have always reached out to me first. So I was so excited when she reached out to me because I was like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to interview you for ages. I tend to just work on the fact that I put it out there, I write things down, I put my goals down, and somehow God always makes it happen. So without further ado, listeners, I have got Lissa Appiah on my show today. She's a certified career strategist, certified organizational coach, personal branding consultant, and the founder of We Apply. She has over a decade of experience in HR, public policy, program operations. The list goes on. She is recognized as a LinkedIn top voice from 2024. She's one of Canada's top 100 Black women to watch in 2022. She was a semi-finalist of Total Mum Pitch in 2023. Listen, her accolades, the list just literally goes on. I love to see women doing it. And on top of all of this, guys, what I want to say about Lissa is that she is an introvert. So you heard the list of everything she's done, but she is an introvert. And one of the things that she specializes in is helping quiet leaders, aka introverts, uncover their unique strengths and win at work without having to pretend to be someone else. And I absolutely love that because, guys, you know, it's all about creating your own lane. It's all about being who you are. And she helps people thrive in their careers as introverts. So Lissa, hi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What an intro. Wow.
It's all you. It's who you are. Like, when I was just reading all your achievements, I was just like, the amount of things you've accomplished and the amount of times I hear people say that only extroverts lead in their field and, you know, have all these accolades. So for me to introduce you and know that you're a fellow introvert and you've achieved all these amazing things, it is the quiet leadership in you that you help other people to achieve. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Did I miss anything? Do you want to let the listeners know? Is there anything specific you want to let them know who you are, what you do?
No, you went through the list. You said it all.
Amazing. So before we get started, I know I spoke a little bit about your background, but let me know what got you into this area, what got you into coaching, what got you into this in the first place.
Yeah, I've always been that person that even as a teenager, I would help my parents get job interviews, help them prepare for the interviews, help my older sister land jobs. So I've always had that interest in career development. I never really knew that it was a field, like it was an actual profession. So when I finished my master's degree, I had this idea to start a resume distribution business. But then I was also offered a full-time opportunity with the federal government here in Canada. And, the business idea wasn't clear enough. So I obviously went the safe route and took the full-time job. But there was always this idea at the back of my mind that I wanted to do something career development related. So I did start a nonprofit at that time. It was a group for young professionals, and we would host events once a year, a huge conference to bring together young professionals and mentors. So I did that for a couple of years. And then in 2018, I had my son, and that was really when I was like, okay, I can't keep, I don't want to be that parent that makes excuses, right? I really want to uh, accomplish the things that I know that I can do, and the things that are in my heart. And so that's when I really took the leap and I said I was going to start the business, and it's grown and evolved from there. But I launched in 2020 as a resume writer, and then evolved into a career coach, now organizational coach. And yeah, it's been an amazing blessing to do this kind of work, but also to be able to change people's lives through the work I do.
I love it. I love that. I love that. I love that. Your journey's a bit like mine. I was definitely just helping friends, family get jobs, writing their resumes. Like, and I didn't think it was a profession. I was just like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
just quite good at it. Let me help you. And they would all come to me and be like, Adele, what do I say if this happens at interview? And I'd be like, I'll say this. And never thought of that as being something that I could be paid for. And I think you saying that's really key for anyone listening. Often the things that we're great at are the things that we take for granted.
So true. Yep.
Like we don't realize like the things we've already mastered, we'll just be like, oh, I'm sure everyone can do this. Actually, no. That's sometimes our talent or our blessing, and we don't always realize that when we're out in the world. So I think that's such a good thing. Um, my first question to you was going to be, why are introverts not thought as leaders? And it is still going to be my first question. But first, I just want to shout out. I read a recent post that you did, and this was my favorite bit, and I just want to share it with everyone listening. You said, don't confuse noise with action, charisma with influence, or volume with productivity. And I thought that was so key, especially do
Mm-hmm.
not confuse noise with action.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people saying a lot of things in this world without
Definitely.
any results, without any backup. And I think this is so key when people think of introverts, because they think, like you said, don't confuse noise with action. People feel like the quietness of an introvert is the problem. They think that us being quiet means we're not taking action. And I think that's so important. So what are your thoughts on, why do you think introverts are just not thought of as leaders in general?
Yeah, there's a statistic from a study that was done a couple of years ago, and they found that 65% of senior executives thought that introverts make bad leaders, and it often comes from exactly what you're saying in terms of the stereotypes around introversion, and the fact that our workplaces have been designed around. There's a book called Quiet by Susan Cain, and the term she uses is the extrovert ideal. And, from networking events to after hours, like everything has been designed around this need for you to continuously be in people's faces, talking all the time, and constantly loud, basically. And so I would say that's why there is a gap between what people think who should be a leader versus who an introvert is, because when you think leader, often what comes to your mind is someone who is powerful, someone who's strong, someone who's loud. And introverts are excellent leaders, but approach leadership with their strengths, that are not often very loud. And that's why things get confused sometimes. And I'll just give a story just as an example.
Mhm.
when I, as I was progressing in my career, an opportunity came up so I used to do international negotiations with foreign governments on behalf of the Canadian government. And an opportunity came up where I was the lead on a file doing the negotiation, and we had to travel to that country to be able to meet the people, get the documents signed, and finalize everything. And obviously, I'm the lead on the file, so I should be the person to go. But they chose somebody else to go on the trip. And I did ask questions and just in conversations. And the guy they chose he's fine, like he's great, he does his job. But the reason that was given to me in terms of why he was chosen is that he's a lot more charismatic than you are, and we just need somebody who's going to be able to speak loudly and actually carry the conversation, and that's why. And so I ended up doing all the research, preparing all the documents, like I did all the work, but he was just the voice to the work that I did. And it's not that I can speak up. It's not that I can't communicate. It's not that I'm not an excellent public speaker. I mean, I get paid to speak now, so I can definitely do it. But that was their view of me based on the fact that I was often at my desk, just quietly doing my work, not wanting to participate in the after hour events or different things like that. So they created an assumption of who I was based on the fact that I was more quiet than this person was. So just to give an example of how perception
Mm.
can influence the kinds of opportunities that come to you.
Oh, I really like that story because I think the point you're making is because you don't do something all the time, people assumed
Mhm.
you couldn't do it at all.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. Yeah. And so that time was actually the time that I realized, okay, I need to make sure that I am controlling the narrative of my career and not let somebody else's perception
Mhm.
control what my career is. Because there's no way that just because you decided that, oh, I don't think that she can speak up, I don't think that she can do this, that means that's going to influence the opportunities I get, that's going to influence how far I'm going to go, that's going to influence my pay. There is no way. So that was really
Absolutely.
a wake up call for me to be like, hey, you got to do things differently as well.
Absolutely. Like, I'm such a believer in you have to decide what you want to be known for. Otherwise,
Mhm.
people will push their views on you and tell you who you are. And we were talking about this literally before we started recording, and I was
Yeah.
saying to you that people don't think I'm an introvert because I'm quite confidently speaking loudly and like showing up online, and people are like, wow, you there's no way you would record all these videos and be confident. And I'm laughing to myself because I'm saying it took me 6 months to record my first video. And it
I
was
can relate.
horrifying. Horrifying. Like, even now I will sometimes record the same video 3 or 4 times or take like 20 minutes before I get online, even though I do it all the time. It still takes me a minute. Even if I'm good at it, it still takes me a minute. Just because like it isn't natural to me, but I know that once I start, I'll be fine.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think something you said that was really important was because you wanted to be, you realized that other people's perception was meaning that your opportunities, your money, you were being held back because they believed you couldn't do something.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that happens with so many introverts that they get held back because of what other people believe. And I always say, sometimes you have to let people know you don't talk the talk, but you can walk the walk.
Exactly. I love that. I love that.
Because my biggest thing is I can't be visible at all times at work. I cannot go to every networking event. I cannot just be outside. Like, I hide from people in public sometimes just because my social battery is so low. So
Hmm.
what I do at work is I call them mic drop moments as an
Hmm.
introvert. And the reason I call them that is because I have moments where they'll people will be talking about something and I don't necessarily chime in when it's a big meeting just because if I don't have anything good to say, I just don't say nothing.
Hmm.
But my mic drop moments are where I remind people what I'm great at, what I've done, what my impact is, and then I just sit back. I give an opinion on something, I give a really strong idea, and then I just sit back. And because of that, I get away with not talking in a lot of meetings that I'm in unless I like a need to, because I've done enough mic drop moments throughout my career, throughout being at a certain job or in a certain role, that they're like, oh, okay, she can do it. Even if she's not doing it every day, even if I'm not doing it every moment, they're like, oh, she's really good at public speaking. Absolutely. Just like you said, you get paid for public speaking. But someone looked at you because you weren't speaking all the time at work and having small talk. They felt like, oh, she's not going to be any good. She's going to be too quiet. She's going to be too shy. Um, so yeah, I love that. I love that story because that was you realizing, okay, I need to take control of my own destiny and what people see. And I think that's what I've done. So sometimes the extroversion, and it's not necessarily me being someone I'm not, but what people think is extroversion is confidence. But it's also me understanding that If I'm not visible, if I'm not on video, if I'm not speaking, how will people find me and know what I can help them with?
Exactly, exactly. And that's the amazing value of building a personal brand. Like at the
Mm.
beginning, you were saying how you don't necessarily actively look for people to be on your podcast, but you are able to attract those opportunities. And that's exactly what I teach my clients who are introverted is that make yourself visible enough so that people know what your expertise is, people know what you bring to the table. So when there is a need or when they're looking for someone for your expertise, they know who to go to. And that makes things so much easier for introverts because instead of you always being the one chasing opportunities, you can attract opportunities your way. And I think that's the amazing shift that can happen when you have the confidence and you have the understanding of what you bring to the table. Now it's just a matter of letting people know. And those who want that knowledge, those who want to be in your circle, or those who want to give you an opportunity will be attracted to you based on what you do and what you know.
Oh, I love that you said that. Do you know what came to mind? It's like a bat signal.
Oh, yeah.
Like you just put it out there and people see it and are attracted to it. Like you
I love
don't
it.
always, yeah, like that's what I thought of when you were speaking. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a bat signal. I've never thought
Hmm.
of it like that before, but it's literally like you don't always have to go and ask people. Just like you said, like yeah, like I was saying, I'm scared of like, I don't reach out to people, but I put myself out there enough that I know people are always going to reach out to me and be like, heard your podcast or really liked what you were just speaking about. If you're
Yeah.
looking for a guest or we should do something together. And that happens to me quite often. And that's me staying within my comfort zone, but also jumping outside. Because me being online
Yes.
posting is being outside of my natural, as an introvert, I just want to be inside in a blanket with people I love and not go outside and talk to anyone. Let's be honest. I
Yeah.
have days like that. And I
Yes.
have days where I want to speak to all the people. But in general, I like a lot of alone time. And it doesn't help that I'm an introvert and an only child for my mum. So I have
Ah,
siblings. I do have siblings, like on my dad with my dad. But for my mum, I grew up in a house as an only child. So that doesn't help either because it means I love my own company. um, but yeah, something you said that I was just thinking about. A lot of what you said, I feel like that's probably a lot of the reasons why introverts shy away from leadership. But are there any other things that you've seen in your clients why they seem to shy away from leadership roles?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the things that I see with my clients is often they find themselves in spaces where they know the answer or they have something to share. But something that a lot of them have shared with me is like they sometimes feel a disconnect between what's going on in their mind and like the amount of thinking that they're doing in their heads versus
Mm.
the words actually coming out. And so because they're people who like to think, to process, you spend so much time processing and overthinking that you're actually now spending so much time thinking of how you're going to say it that sometimes you find yourself not saying anything at all. And then you regret that you didn't say anything. Or then after the fact, like if you actually said something, then you're ruminating and you're like, oh no, I should have said it like that. I should have done this. So that like it's great that we have
Yeah.
minds that think a lot, but then sometimes that can be a deterrent and hold you back because your mind is always in overdrive. So that's one thing I hear often from my clients in terms of why they think they can't speak up or get the visibility they need at work. Another one is just this mindset that, okay, I've seen leaders, I see what they look like and they don't look like me,
Mm.
they don't act like me. They haven't seen an example of what it is in terms of quiet leadership. So for them, because I don't look like that person, I don't think I can be a leader. And I've had that personally in my own experience of being a leader within my organization and someone coming up to me and being like, I've never seen someone approach leadership in this way. So that gave me the opportunity to want to be a leader because it
Mm.
was an example they'd never seen. And I get messages like that on LinkedIn all the time. Just, yes, I'm an introvert, but I'm also a Black woman.
Mm.
So people reach out to me all the time and being like, as a Black woman and being introverted, like they don't have an example of that in their life. So just being able to see what I'm sharing online lets them know that yes, it's possible to lead differently. You don't have to lead in one way. So yeah, those are some of the things that people and clients have shared with me.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to the overthinking.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
guilty of that as well.
yeah, and then I get annoyed if someone else says it because I would have been
I
thinking about it
know.
the whole
I know. That
time.
is yeah, that happens.
Like
When
I'll
you
be
feel like they
thinking about
stole your
it for,
idea.
yeah, like I'll be thinking about it for like half an hour and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. And then I just don't say it. And then right at the end of the meeting, someone else will say it and I'll be like, but that was my idea. I just didn't say it.
Exactly.
And I realized that like as an introvert, you're always kind of sometimes it borderlines on like perfectionism. You don't want to say
Mhm.
it in the wrong way or offend anyone or like you sound silly. Like you really pull things apart in your brain while everything outside is going on. And I think people don't always see the chaos of like the overthinking that is happening for introverts a lot of the time. Like
That's
it's not just that they're quiet, it's actually that there's about 1,000 things happening in their brain because
mhm.
they want to speak up or they want to say something but they don't. um and I liked what you said about introverts don't have a lot of like we don't see a lot of leaders that lead like that because I agree with that. I've been in corporate for I don't even know how long, maybe 17 years. I just don't know at this point how long I've been in corporate for. But yeah, I don't see many like what you'd class as introverted leaders. And
Mhm.
like you shared the statistic that there are more extroverted leaders. And I read a Harvard paper not too long ago, and it actually said that although there are more extrovert leaders, introverted leaders get better results.
Yes, I read the article as
Did you read it
well.
too? Right.
Yes, I read it as well. Yeah.
We lead in results. So I'm like,
Yes.
so literally, we walk the walk. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
we make you more money potentially.
Yes.
We affect your teams better. We grow teams like way faster,
Mhm.
and we can make things happen much quicker. But because of perception, you would hire someone who was louder over someone who is maybe quieter. And I think for me as an introvert, one of the big things I've always worked on is being really clear on my results and what I can deliver in corporate, because
Yes.
that's what's helped leverage my career. Like I'm telling you what I can do for you. I'm telling you what I've done for teams. I'm telling you how much money I've made in my last 3 companies. Like I think as introverts, sometimes we have to really lean on those kind of strengths, like what can we do,
Mhm.
versus so that we can then speak about them, versus if we just try and just randomly talk about what we can do. I think that can be harder as an introvert because again, we're probably in our head overthinking it. But if we can keep a record of everything that we're great at, I think that does make it easy. Well, it does for me anyway. Makes it a lot easier when I've kept a long, like a record written down that I can always look back on. So before interviews, before I meet people, I just remind myself, okay, Del, you're great at all these things, remember to talk about them.
Yes.
Be prepared. So in your experience, because you've been in corporate as well, what do you think is like a common misconception or a myth that maybe you've heard a lot about yourself, even like you mentioned the story about you not like them thinking you were too shy to be able to speak.
Mhm.
What are there any other myths that you come across a lot? Because I hear quite a lot of myths about like why people tell me I can't be an introvert, and then
Mhm.
they tell me
Mhm.
why. They proceed to tell me all the myths that they believe about why I can't be an introvert.
Yeah, for sure. I would say the first one that's coming to mind is just this idea that introverts are shy.
Mm.
And, you know, not all introverts are shy. Shyness is it's an emotion. It's feeling uncomfortable or awkward in social settings, and it's not necessarily a personality thing. Even extroverts can feel shy depending on what setting they're in, but introversion, it's a personality trait. It's based on your energy management and your energy level. So introverts tend to recharge when they're alone. However, extroverts tend to recharge in social settings. So introversion and shyness, yes, there are some people who are both. I have been both at some time in my life. Like when I was younger, yes, I do remember being shy, but I'm not shy now. I'm very confident, and so yeah, I would say that's a huge myth that people just assume that introverts are shy.
Yes, I agree. That one I agree with fully. I was the same as you, really shy as a kid. I got bullied as a kid, super shy as a kid. Still can be super shy in certain social situations.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel awkward, especially if I don't know people. I tend
Fair
to shy
enough.
away from big groups.
Yeah,
But confident, I think I like that you said confident because people think that introverts lack confidence. And
that's a
I
huge
think
myth as well. Yeah.
yes, I think that's the total opposite. I don't think
Mhm.
like I've got 90% of my friends are extroverts, and
Yeah.
I strongly believe that it's because my mum is an extrovert, so I
Mm.
somehow attract extroverts. Like they just like one of my friends even said to me, she was like, she met me at work and she was like, you just never talked. So I wanted to know what was going on. Like she was just being nosy. She was being her extroverted self. We became friends because, and the thing was, I didn't get on with her straight away because she was so in my face, wanted to speak to me every minute, and I was really quiet at work. But we became friends because I started to observe that her extroversion was actually just her way of trying to connect with me. It wasn't that she
Mm.
was it wasn't that she was like overly aggressive or and it was more that oh, she just was really trying to connect and find out more about me and because I wasn't very talkative, she was
Yes.
struggling and she saw something in me she liked. And I find that with most of my friends. But you said something that was really key. Extroverts can also be shy. My friends are not shy in almost any situation. However,
Mhm.
put them on the stage to public speak. I
There
think of
you
one of
go.
my closest best friends, and we both had to public speak one day. Her voice was shaking, she was sweating, she panicked, she basically rushed through everything and ran off the stage. She was
Wow.
horrified. And she is one of the most loud, outgoing, will dance on a stage, dance on a table. Like she is very extroverted. You would never think that. Put me on a stage to talk or public speak, calm, I'm prepared. I'm ready to go. Like, and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so confident." Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think that's I like that you said that because it reminded me like my extrovert friends are extroverted in most areas of their life, but put them on a stage to public speak about even about things that they're really knowledgeable about, they literally melt and panic. And I look at them and I'm like, we go out and you guys dance on tables. What is happening? And I'm the one in the back, like embarrassed. And I'm like, and then we get to public speaking, and I'm the one that has the most confidence. I'm the one who leads. I used to be a first aid trainer. I used to train massive groups of people. And I did it with my business partner, who is an extrovert.
Oh.
She was way more nervous training people than I was. Like, I would just go in, get the training done, get amazing feedback. She would stutter, she would forget things because she would always feel like she was being judged when even though she's
Mm.
an extrovert versus I feel like I'm being judged more in a social situation than I do maybe in a work situation, which is weird. I know that might be weird, but yeah, that's where maybe because I feel like in work I've figured out my zone of genius, so I'm a bit
It
more
makes sense.
confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
So
you understand the environment, so you know how to navigate it.
yes, and I
Yeah,
think when
I
you
understand
are
that.
yes, when you're an
Yeah.
introvert, knowing the landscape or the
Mhm.
environment kind of is comforting versus when you're just in a random social situation and people are coming at you and just talking up to you like
For sure. I can relate to that as well. I would say I'm very similar. Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
do you think that introversion can truly be a superpower? I know the answer that you're going to tell me, but I want you to tell the listeners, do you truly believe, because there are so many introverts that listen to this show. I've got hundreds of people that reach out to me all the time saying, I'm an introvert too, Adele. People always like say that I'm going to not be good at these things. But do you think it can truly be a superpower?
Yes, definitely. It is a superpower. And, it's all about you being able to understand yourself and the strengths that you bring to the table. Because we've been in these workplaces and sometimes even in our upbringing, we've been told that certain characteristics are more likable or you're more approachable when you're this way or that way. So there is sometimes for a lot of people and a lot of my clients that I've worked with, there's this narrative that they've internalized that because they're an introvert, it's a limitation to their career, that there's something wrong with them, that they have to change who they are. So when you're able to change that internal dialogue and actually recognize the value that you bring, the strengths that you bring, that's where it then becomes a superpower. Because if you haven't done that work and don't have that level of self awareness, then you're never going to value what you have to offer. You're not, never going to recognize it, and no one will as well, because you're the one who has to be your first advocate, right? You're the one that
Mm.
is able to speak to what you have to offer. So it starts with that level of self awareness. And I definitely have seen that people who are able to get that understanding of what are the strengths they bring to the table. And a lot of times it's some of those things that they assume were weaknesses that they uncover that are actually strengths, depending on how you position them. And we were talking about this earlier, about like those things you do in your zone of genius, when we were talking about supporting people with their career development. There are often things that you do so naturally as an introvert that you don't realize could bring so much value to the workplace or to your career that you are simply overlooking. So I would definitely say being an introvert is a superpower, but you have to have that level of self-awareness first.
Oh yeah. No, I really like that you said that. Like the level of self-awareness is super important. Because if you don't believe it, no one else will.
There you go.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely agree with that. Are there any you touched on something a little bit there where you said like there's certain things that you will see as a weakness that actually could be your superpower. Are there any, and I'm just being very general in this kind of term,
Mhm.
anything that you see in introverts that
Mhm.
tends to be a strong superpower that they have that they don't realize, like something that in most introverts, not all but most introverts will have that specific quality
Yeah.
that they don't necessarily know. Is there anything you've seen?
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of introverts are very observant. Like
Mhm.
they're quiet, right? So when you're not the
Yes.
person who's talking and trying to entertain everybody, you're
Hmm.
paying attention. You're reading between the lines. You're actually taking the time to process what's going on to come up with solutions. So that's something that I've seen in a lot of my clients, that, they you could say, okay, they're quiet, so they're seeing it as a weakness, but what are you actually doing when you're quiet? A lot of the
Hmm.
times you're observing, you're analyzing the situation, and you're processing it to come up with an answer to whatever the conversation is. That's a huge superpower. And in the workplace, if you're the person who can like read between the lines and actually say, ask a thought provoking question that's going to shift the conversation, or you're the person who's able to be like, hey, we're overlooking this. Have we considered this? Or you actually come up with whatever solution that people are looking for. That is like that's a superpower. That's a strength that a lot of introverts have, that's often overlooked as just like, yeah, I'm good at looking at things and coming up with a solution. Like, that is not just looking at things. Like, you can
Yeah.
actually leverage this to position yourself and even build a brand around it to be able to elevate your career. So those things that sometimes are just like things that you just think, oh, I just do that, or I just do that, they are huge strengths that you can leverage in the workplace.
I love that you led with observation. Like, I love that you said that because that's literally my top, like one of my top strengths. I always, so,
Ah,
so I communicate it as that I'm a good communicator. That's what in the corporate world, because I know they love to talk about communication. I will be like, I'm a great communicator, but I know the reason I'm a good communicator is because of observation and listening.
there you go.
I
Yes,
am
listening is a big
always,
one.
yeah, I'm always
Yeah.
listening and I'm always paying attention to everything everyone says. And the reason that's helped me in leadership is because I've, people are always like, oh my God, you're so good with your team. You're able to like manage all different types of personalities. The reason that is because I observe what they do, I observe how they thrive, and I listen. I listen to the things they like, the things they dislike, and I am able to then speak that through my leadership back to them. I know what they need and what they don't need. Again, when you said about seeing in between the lines, I might pick up on something in someone on my team that another manager or leader wouldn't see.
Yeah.
And I use that to my advantage because it means I can get everybody on side. When I have something I want to deliver, everyone always says, I'm not sure how you get everyone. Like they always call it influence, but my influence is because I've observed, I've paid really close attention, and I've done the things that other people might have missed. I've seen it and I've been like, oh, okay, if I do this, this person's going to react in this way, and that's going to work and benefit us as a team. Versus, I think if you're not that observant, you could miss it,
Yeah,
and you
that's a
maybe will
huge.
try and treat everyone the same. So I love that you said observation, because I think any introverts that are listening, I think observation and listening, if they are your strong skills and you think they're not helpful, just reframe it in your mind. Because I've reframed my observation and listening as being great at communicating, as being great at leading. I'm great at leading because I can build a rapport with anyone because I'm listening and I'm observing.
I love that. You're completely right. That's a huge strength. And I think it's something that introverts have learned along the way. Like
Mhm.
this is not based on on a study, but this is just
Mhm.
again my own observation.
Mhm.
What I've seen in working with a lot of introverts is that over the years they've learned to be very adaptable
Mm.
because they're the quieter person, so they've learned to navigate different situations and kind of see how people are and adapt to that. But what I see often when I am talking or with extroverts or extroverted leaders, they often expect people to be like them, and it's very
Mm.
hard for them to make an adjustment,
Yes.
to shift, to understand that, oh, there are different approaches, because they just think that my approach is the best approach. Why doesn't everybody want to be loud? Why doesn't everyone want to go to this event? Like, why aren't we all doing this? So just that's an observation that I've made over the years working with different kinds of people. And yeah, I think that's another superpower that introverts have, this uh, adaptability, being able to
Mm.
work with different people, understand different people's strengths, and support them in leveraging their strengths so they succeed as well.
Oh yes, I like that. That is actually really key, because I know some extrovert leaders that their teams have a lot more tension and stress and struggle because they can only lead in one way.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. A
I think
study
you're
should be done
so
on that.
right. I
Maybe.
think it
Yeah.
should, because I used to be a teacher before I ever stepped into the career world. I
Oh,
taught for
nice.
like, yeah, I taught for like almost 10 years. I taught early years. So I taught children under 5. Um, and I did teach older kids as well, but mostly 5 and under. And one of the things that I always felt that I was really good at as a teacher was that I could reach the child that everyone said they basically had no hope.
Hmm.
And it was because I was so adaptable in observing and realizing that, for instance, I used to sometimes have male little young boys who would not be able to write their name, but could tell me every football player on a team. And I was like, there is no way you've memorized every footballer's name, but you can't write the letter D. So I
True.
then figured out, okay, an O looks like a soccer ball. How can I use that to get them to learn to write the letter O? And I literally just used their passions
Mm-hmm.
to teach them, and it meant that my groups in my class, my groups always got the best results, and they never understood how I was able to get, like, because that when you're teaching, as long as like 70% of the class, 80% of the class is doing well, the rest, they don't really care. They're like, okay, you're a good teacher. But my
Mm.
group was always the group where parents would be like, oh, I want my kids in Adele's class, because I wanted 100%. I wanted to figure out why certain kids just learn in a totally different way, because it didn't mean that they couldn't get the information. It just mean I had to adapt how I taught them. Um, so what you said really just resonated with me, because I was like, oh, adaptability, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely probably one of my strengths that I've never even really thought about until you just said it. Just being able to shift and work with all types of people, versus, like you
Definitely.
said, sometimes extrovert leaders, they struggle with that, and there tends to be more of a clash of dynamics, because they want everyone to be exactly like them.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
oh, I
Yeah.
really like, see, I knew it was going to be great having you on here, because I just know that the listeners need to hear this. People that are introverts need to hear this. And people need to hear two introverts who have slightly different approaches, but get great results and have had great careers talking and discussing stuff like this. Um, what are your final thoughts on thriving in corporate? Because how are there any tips you've got? Anything you want to say to people who want to become a leader and they want to, or they just want to thrive in their career as an introvert?
A big thing that you shared earlier that I often encourage my clients to do is definitely keep track of your wins and keeping track of your overall story, because oftentimes, as we said, the things that you do and the things you do naturally are sometimes the things that you will overlook. So being able to go back to those things and help you, it will help you create a narrative and a brand around those things. So don't overlook the things that come to you naturally. And I will definitely emphasize, especially with everything that's happening in the world, being able to leverage your personal brand so that you can remain relevant no matter the changes in the job market. Because there's obviously a lot going on right now, but being able to have that control over the narrative of your career and how you want to position yourself as a leader just helps you to be able to make shifts and navigate the job market a lot easier. And so a lot of the clients that I work with are people who haven't been building their brand. They've been in a stable job for the last 20 years, and they were okay, right? And then now either they're facing a layoff, or there's a change in their company, or they get to the point that they're realizing that, hey, I've spent all these years here and I'm still not a leader. I'm still an individual contributor, and that's never what they wanted for themselves. So now they want to step into their first leadership role. So I support them with that transition. But those who have at least even a basic online brand or something that we can work with, they get the results a lot quicker than the person who doesn't have a LinkedIn at all, or who hasn't taken the time to even understand, like, who's in my network, what's my story, how do I show up. So I would just say, yeah, in terms of advice, that's something that I would say be intentional about. Don't only think about the job that you're in now, but think about your career as a whole, because your career, it's a lifelong journey. It's not just going to be this job that is ultimately going to be temporary. Even if it's 5 years or 10 years, a job is temporary, but your career is going to be something that you build throughout the years.
Oh, I really like that. What you made me think of one more question that I just want to
Yeah,
ask.
go for it.
For someone who is very introverted and maybe isn't where they want to be in their career, what's how can they start building that personal brand? What's the first thing you would say to someone who wants to build a personal brand or to even understand what that is?
I would say the first step is actually taking the time to get to know yourself, your
Mm.
strengths, and your skills. So an easy exercise that can help with this is just take your resume, look at all the experiences that you've had, and start answering, like, what was the key success story that I had in this job? What was the time that I enjoyed working in this job? And what was a time that I felt the most fulfilled in this job? So going through those jobs and then answering those questions oftentimes will just help you reflect on what you've been able to achieve in your various roles, and that sometimes helps you understand what are those strengths that you bring to the table, because often there are trends in terms of the different ways you've been able to deliver results and make an impact in the companies that you've worked with. So the first step is not create a LinkedIn profile, it's not write a resume, it's take time to actually understand what you bring to the table. And this is only if you've never done it before, because there are some people who have been tracking their wins and different things like that. So that's great. But if you're an introvert and you've never even taken the time to understand you, the value that you bring, I would say that's the very first step, understanding what you bring to the table.
Oh, such a good tip, and also such a really good exercise. I like that exercise. I do that with my clients as well. So yeah, guys, if you didn't catch that, rewind, just re-listen to that last answer, because I think it is so helpful if you haven't started building a brand, or for you to even understand how do you get started with building a brand. Like, and maybe you've already started, but it's not going the way you want. Maybe that's the part you missed, and you need to revisit.
Hmm.
So yeah, rewind and re-listen to that answer. I really love that. Um, Thank you so much. I knew this was going to be such a great conversation. I know this is going to help so many people. So I'm really thankful and grateful that you came on today. Can you let the listeners know how they can connect with you, how they can work with you? Yeah, just all the things. And also, guys, it will be in the show notes. So I will put all the links to like Lissa's website, LinkedIn, YouTube. That will be in the description. But can you just share with everyone like how they can work with you and where they can find you?
Of course. So, yeah, if you are an introvert who's trying to land your first leadership role, you can definitely reach out to me for one on one coaching. And my website is weapply.ca. And then I post content very regularly on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. And you can just search my name, Lissa with two S's, Appiah. And yeah, that's the best way to connect with me.
Perfect. And I just wanted to say to everyone, you don't just help people in Canada, right? You
No,
help
I work
people
with clients
everywhere.
globally. So, no, not
Yes.
just clients in Canada.
Yes, and that's what I love about Lisa helps everyone. She works with so many different types of people, and she just has really good insight. So, guys, definitely go and connect with her on LinkedIn. Her posts are amazing. If you're an introvert, I feel like you will resonate with almost everything she posts every single day. Like it just is good quality content. So yeah, just go and connect with her. And if you need support, connect with her because I think she has such great insights on helping introverts thrive. And that's really key because guys, we are great at what we do. We just don't tell enough people about it.
Sure.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been amazing. And guys, I will speak to you on the next episode. I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening and see you next time.